Okay, well, it's time now for our focus report, and alternative draft reforms for an overhaul of the Polish judicial system are being proposed by the country's president. Andrzej Duda is unexpectedly vetoed plans put forward by the ruling Law and Justice Party last July after nationwide protests and EU criticism of the changes that many say undermine democracy, putting far too much power of the courts into the hands of the government. The Law and Justice Party leader, Jarosław Kaczyński, who was angry at the veto, wants as few modifications as possible. In recent weeks, the government and its supporters have been aggressively promoting the changes and denouncing any international interference. Gulliver Cragg reports.
The owner of this Warsaw apartment, Maria PAWELEC, says she's been the victim of swindlers.
Look, they gave the court this fake document.
In a series of cases that have dragged on for years, she's been told she owes thousands on a mortgage she says she paid off long ago.
The courts confirmed this lie. They presented fictional debts. Surely any normal judge would smell a rat.
Maria's story has been featured twice on TV. The state broadcaster, controlled by the ruling party, has lately been offering extensive coverage of judicial errors and controversial verdicts.
And Europe wants the opposite of this reform. Does it want us to be swindled and oppressed forever?
According to EU statistics, Poland's courts are within the bloc's average in terms of efficiency, but most polls see them as slow and incompetent or worse. A reputation these roadside posters seek to reinforce. They point to a website that details judges' poor decisions and drunken antics. There are also emotional video testimonies.
When the court took her away, my daughter was 6 years old. Why did they do that? As the judge said, because we were poor.
Pro-government media strongly approve of the initiative.
It's important to support this desire for change and to spread the word, to tell people that now is the time to reform the courts, because if the opposition comes to power again, the political will won't be there.
Yet many Poles are appalled by what they see as a manipulative campaign.
This campaign is slandering our justice system so as to force through the government's proposed changes, which are unconstitutional. The campaign is aimed at people who have no political awareness.
Opposition parties say the government is manipulating people's dissatisfaction in order to stage a power grab.
The Law and Justice Party says it wants to reform the legal system, but really all it's proposing is changing the personnel, getting rid of the judges that are currently serving there. That undermines the democratic separation of powers and aims to put all power in the hands of one person, the party leader Jarosław Kaczyński.
The European Commission agrees. It has demanded that Poland change tack or face sanctions. To no avail.
People who have no right to do so are interfering in our party's internal affairs.
This rally outside the EU's Warsaw offices drew fewer people than anti-government protests in July, which prompted the president to veto part of the reform. But the government has made it clear that that was just a reprieve. Its website recently posted photographs of the Prime Minister listening to the complaints of so-called justice system victims, people like Maria PAWELEC, after which she offered these stern words.
The government is in the right. We've listened to the people demanding change, whereas the political elite want to torpedo reforms and think that today's justice system in Poland is entirely at their disposal. For years, they did nothing to change the justice system and thought it was as good as could be.
The EU has a fight on its hands.